No way. Holy shit. That's unreal. Hey everybody, what's going on? My name is Jamie Dean and here it is. The box. So in this box, I have the rarest game that I've ever bought. This is a game that wasn't even on my Grail list because I just thought there was no point whatsoever putting it there. It was completely unobtainable. This is a game that regularly sells on the secondhand market for $400, $500. I've seen it listed for $1,000. I've even seen it listed for $1,500, this game. And now I have it here in my hands. Kind of. Let me show you. Alright, before we get into that, let me show you a couple of other little bits and pieces that I managed to pick up for the week. Starting off with a trip to my local little bookshop, which resulted in picking up this, the Hogwarts Legacy official game guide. Now, I've never played Hogwarts Legacy. I've been interested to try it. Apparently, it's a fairly, I don't know. I've heard that it's a fairly shallow game. But I think it looks great, and it's one that's on my list to check out at some point for sure. But yeah, they had this this little game guide there. So this is going in my resale pile. I'll be popping this one up on eBay, hopefully to move it on to a new owner, and hopefully put a bit more funds into the game buying kitty. But yeah, it's a lovely book. It looks immaculate. Doesn't look like it's ever been touched. There's no dog ears on it. You can see the back there. Yeah, just a beautiful little book. See if I can show you some bits and pieces here. I don't want to show too much because I'm guessing it's probably going to be full of spoilers for the game. Here's another one from the beginning. And that's all I'll give you a look at. Because it does look, as being a strategy guide, it's going through the game start to finish by the looks of things. But yeah, just a nice little find. It was like a couple of bucks. So I thought, oh yeah, we'll have that and we'll see if we can rehome that one. Now, last week, I think it was last week, I was very, very excited to have picked up a copy of Tintin on DVD, a box set of Tintin. Now, when it showed up, it was a bit grubby. I said it needed a bit of a clean up. I tried to clean it up this week, and unfortunately what I found was that the actual sleeve cover, not the sleeve cover, but the actual case that it was in, had quite a bit of black mold sort of in the cardboard. There was no cleaning that out. I don't want mold in this room anywhere, shape or how. So, yeah, a bit of heartbreak. I had to get rid of that. I can't even really give it to anybody because, you know, I don't want to put black mold in somebody else's collection or somebody else's home. I got in touch with the seller. They very graciously said, oh, I'm so sorry. Gave me my money back, full refund. They said, don't worry about sending it back. Just either pass it on or bin it. So yeah, unfortunately into the bin it went. But that meant I had to go on the hunt for another physical hard copy of Tintin. This time I have managed to track down this one. So this is in the plastic cover. This is the remastered Adventures of Tintin. Now this is a lovely full HD 16:9 version of the show instead of the original 4:3 version. I believe it's been cleaned up a bit. It's got some lovely coloured discs, a 5-disc set. However, I am going to have a little bit of a rant about this pickup. And the particular seller that I bought this from. So as you can see, it looks really, really nice condition. You know, just as the photos showed on the listing. Now this was listed as being in very good condition, and it is in very good condition, I would say, if you only look at it from the front. If you look at it from the back, however, and this is, I'll just point out, this is post me really giving it a really good clean. My camera, no, my camera's not really going to show it up, unfortunately, but I'll point it out. There is a brown stain that runs all the way around here. It looks like a coffee stain or chocolate milk or something like that has been spilled all over the back of the case. Now, I got in touch with the seller and said, look, I'm a bit disappointed. You know, it wasn't terribly expensive, but it was certainly, being the remastered edition, more expensive than the box set that I had picked up already. And I said, look, you know, there's a bit of an issue here with the spill. It wasn't mentioned in your description. You got it listed as very good condition. They said, well, actually, we did photograph the spill on the case, as you can see in photo 10 of the listing. Now, eBay sellers, if you're going to list something for sale as being very good condition, that item should be in very good condition, and it should not be on the customer to trawl through 15 photos searching meticulously for the ones buried at the very end of the chain for any potential damage that might be on a very good condition listed item. So I will wear that on my part. You know, I should have checked all of the photos, all of the, I think, 12 photos that they had there of this particular item. But yeah, if your item's damaged, it's not in very good condition, don't list it as very good condition. Put the damage in the description or put it in the first couple of photos on the listing. I kind of feel like if you're listing something as very good and it is damaged and you're hiding the damage at the very end of the photo list, you're kind of being a little bit dishonest about your listing. I didn't chase my money back. They did give me the option of what I wanted to do if I wanted to return it and get a refund. I opted not to. This is not an easy set to come across. I don't know when I was going to find another one. It wasn't superly expensive, to be fair. So I've opted to keep it. I've cleaned it up as best I can. My alarm's going off. Let me turn that off. There we go. I've cleaned it up as best I can, and I will just hang on to that one for the shelf because the discs themselves are all immaculate. The front of the case is nice. It's just a shame, and it's a shame that I can't really show you because my camera is doing a lot of heavy lifting to blot that out, but there is a substantial coffee/chocolate milk stain on the back. But anyway, Tintin remastered. We have it back in the collection again, so that is good. Positive in the end overall, I think. Okay, let's get to the box. The box that I left you with at the end of the last pickups video. Let's finally put everyone out of their misery and see what I've managed to pick up here. Now, I was very excited. It turned out much, much better than I anticipated that it would. It was kind of hard to see on the listing. This is an eBay pickup. They didn't have a lot of photos of it. So I was just kind of like, when I saw it for the price that they had it, I kind of just jumped on it without really thinking and kind of hoped that it would show up in great condition. Luckily for me, it has shown up in fantastic condition. I will bury the lead right now. I have purchased a copy of Pokemon Stadium 2 for the Nintendo 64, which is one of the rarest, most expensive, hard to find Nintendo 64 games around. Like I said, it goes for stupid money, usually, on eBay. However, caveat, I have picked up a Japanese version of Pokemon Stadium 2. Now, there are several reasons for this. Number one, like I said, I don't have $1,000 to throw at a game. There's no way in the world I'm going to be able to have this in my collection on a PAL copy. And I just think that the box, and I've said this before, the Japanese box art for these old retro games is, I think, spectacular. I mean, look at that. It's got like a beautiful metallic finish. Ho-Ho and Lugia on the front there. It just looks great. Like I love how the Japanese Nintendo 64 boxes were upright, like the NES boxes, like our NES boxes. I love how they just kind of look like a movie poster. Like I would put that on my fucking wall. It's that beautiful. Even the back of the box just looks fantastic. Now I'm going to open this up and show you what's inside, because the difference between how the Japanese copies of the game are packaged versus how our copies of the game are packaged is like fucking night and day. So if you've never had the opportunity to actually take a look inside a Japanese copy of a Nintendo 64 game, or I believe they're all going to be fairly similar, a retro Nintendo game, I'll give you a look at what it looks like when you open the box. So inside, there is not a cardboard insert like we have in our versions of the game. There is this molded plastic insert that fits the game perfectly. And I mean, even look at the label. We'll have a look at that too. This thing is like, oh my God, it is in such perfect, pristine condition. Look at that. But outside of the packaging and the cartridge, it also has, behind the molded insert, there is a section for the manual. So the manual doesn't just sit on top or underneath the cardboard insert like it does in our copies of the games, only to get like scrunched and dog-eared as you're trying to close the game or put it in there in the first place. It has its own little, I'll hold it up here, it has its own little insert behind the game that it sits in, so it can't get damaged. How cool is that? So we'll take this out. So there's your manual. Right there. Beautiful condition. The manual, again, just looks fantastic. Just the graphic design, the iconography, the artwork. It's just lovely. I'm trying to show a page that will... Whoop. A couple of pages here that you can see. Whoa. I just love it. I think it looks so good. It's all laid out really nicely. There's also this little sort of quick guide here that shows you the controls for the game, and also your stat matchups, your type matchups. I'm pretty sure we didn't get anything like that in the PAL version. So yeah, awesome. So when that showed up, like when I found it, when I saw it, it was like, you can get copies of Japanese games most of the time for really cheap money, because they are just a collectible at the end of the day. Like, I'm never going to be able to play this, but I'm not looking to play a lot of my Nintendo 64 collection, at least not now. Maybe one day if I can ever find an actual console. But, you know, like there's the Switch Online store. I mean, I've got titles that aren't on Switch Online for sure. But there's just such a barrier to entry to actually going back and revisiting some of these games that, in all honesty, I'll probably sit down and play for 10 or 15 minutes for the memories and then put back on the shelf, right? So the fact that I can't play this game doesn't really matter to me. It was more just the beauty of it, I'll be honest with you. The fact that it was Pokemon Stadium 2, and there are 3 versions of Pokemon Stadium in the... on the Japanese Nintendo 64, there was the initial release, which we never got, which is almost kind of like a demo for Pokemon Stadium 1. And then their Pokemon Stadium 2 was our Pokemon Stadium 1, what we know as Pokemon Stadium. And then this one, Pokemon Stadium Gold and Silver, is our Pokemon Stadium 2, as you can tell by the covers. But this is, again, the 3rd entry in the Japanese Pokemon Stadium series, not the 2nd. Same game, we just missed out on the first little sort of demo tester to you know, test the waters, essentially. But yeah, I was just thrilled with that. This cost me $40. Like, $40 to have that gorgeousness on my shelf. And again, a game that I have no hope in hell of ever owning a PAL edition of. I probably don't even have any hope in hell of owning the first Pokemon Stadium, to be perfectly honest. They're both very rare and very expensive. But this one in particular is just stupid money, right? It's absolutely stupid, bonkers money. So for $40 to have what I think is an even better looking copy of the game on the shelf, I jumped at it. And I'm really happy to have it, because I just think it's I think it's stunning. I think it's absolutely beautiful. I think it's one of the best looking games I own. Also in that box was another Japanese game that I picked up. Another one I don't own the PAL copy of, and I'm probably, in all honesty, not likely to for the same reason, because it's fairly hard to come by, and when you do come by it in decent condition, it is quite expensive, and that is Mario Party. And again, I bought this one for just how it looked. It just looks fantastic. Back of the case looks brilliant. I mean, like every aspect of the box, just I feel puts our versions to shame to some degree. They just look so good. But inside this, we have again our plastic insert with cartridge. Again, immaculate condition. Now this version comes with 2 manuals. So we have the manual for the game itself. But then we also have a separate manual that goes through all the mini games in Mario Party independently, explaining how to play them and how they work, what they are. Like, how cool is that? Again, we didn't get anything like that, I don't think, in ours. I'm fairly confident. But having the separate minigame manual, I just thought was brilliant. Shout out if you recognize any of these. This one down here. That was the bane of Mario Party players. Yeah, so many good memories flicking through this book and seeing these screenshots. So cool. We also got some fun little leaflets in here as well. We've got whatever that is. Anyone who can read Japanese characters, which I cannot. This looks like an electrical safety little leaflet. But yeah, there you go. So that was Mario Party. I think this one set me back like $15. $15 for a copy of Mario Party. Again, with a beautiful, just that cover to have on the shelf. I was happy with that. Oh, man, putting that away, I can't tell you how much of a delight that is. Like not having to like fuck around with the manual and make sure like, oh shit, am I like when you tuck this part in right? Oh damn, Am I hitting the manual? Am I dog-earing the manual? No problems. It all just slides away beautifully. So there we go. Mario Party as well. So that was my two sort of like, I don't know, just really cool little finds that I just stumbled across as I was searching around. And I just loved them. I as soon as I saw them, I was like, yes, please, I want to have this one especially. If I see any more sort of like really cheap copies of the Japanese versions of the games, I'll probably pick them up as well, because like I said, I adore how that looks. I love how they look. So there are my 2 lovely little pickups for the week, but I am not done. I thought I was done until I came across this. I have a big post box here that I'm going to open and show you what is inside, because this ticks off another grail of mine to find. Not a difficult one to find, but just one that I knew I wanted to have on the shelf when I started this. It is quite heavy. Let me move my microphone here and I'll make a bit of space so we can open this up together. So we've got some obligatory bubble wrap. I have unwrapped the majority of this just to check that it's all there. But inside this box is a PlayStation 1. So there we go. I have one now for the shelf, for the collection. Tested, it's working, it's in good condition. The only issue, it needs a clean. I think it's a bit grubby, so I've still got to clean this thing. Again, the camera's probably doing a bit of hard work here. But I'm going to put this box to the side because we don't need that sitting there in front of me. I do need to get this thing a bit of a clean up. It's a little bit grubby, but overall in very nice condition. Someone has graffitied, if I can show you the back of it there, with a knife of some sort. But other than that, I think the only other issue that it has is that the I'll see if I can show you here. The open button for the disc tray, it gets stuck. See that? So it's sticky. It will, if you wiggle it, it'll loosen up and come back again, but it is a bit sticky, so that probably needs a bit of a clean up as well to make sure it's not sticking. But with the console, it's not just the console itself. I also managed to get all the cables. I won't unwrap them, but they're all there. We have a controller, an original Sony PlayStation controller, as well as a DualShock controller, which was a nice bonus in addition to the console. Now, again, both this and the original controller, they're both fairly grubby. They both need a good cleanup, but they both do work. Yeah, that was a brilliant find. It was all in really good nick. I got all of that, both of the controllers and the console and the cables, all tested and working for, I think, $75, somewhere around that sort of mark. It was a real sort of steal. And, you know, I've seen these. Ideally, I would love to have got one boxed, but they are like fucking unicorn shit. Like, you can't find in this country, here in Australia, a boxed copy of a PlayStation 1. It just doesn't seem to exist for whatever reason. Or if you do, the boxes are so fucking battered to shit that they're not even really worth having. So I did say, okay, well, let's give up on that dream. Let's just go an unboxed one. I looked around for a little while, couldn't find one in my price range. They can still get fairly pricey. Not ridiculously expensive, but, you know, more than I was able or willing to pay. But then when I saw this one for the price that it was, and in good condition, I was like, yep, I think now's the time to pull the trigger on that. So yeah, really happy to have the PlayStation on the shelf again. I'll find a home for it behind me here on the PlayStation shelf. We'll make a little nook there for it to live. But yeah, lots of good memories. As anyone who grew up in my era, you know, around that sort of, when you were in high school with the Nintendo 64 and the PlayStation, you know, there was just so many memories circulating around those two particular consoles at the time, for me especially. So I'm really, really happy to finally have one of those back again. It was such a, like, when I opened the box for the first time too, it was just like this big, holy shit, a fucking PlayStation. Like, I haven't laid eyes on one of these and held it in my hands since I was probably in high school. That's probably the last time I really got a really close up look at one. So, and like the old original chunky PlayStation, not the slimmer PS1 that they put out a bit later. Like, that's the original one is the one that I had and I owned, the one that my friends had. So that's the version I knew I wanted. And it was just, yeah, just such a blast from the past to open this box here and see that just staring at you. It's like, holy shit, wow, I'm back in sort of like the year 1997 all over again. So that is it, my friends. That is all of my pickups for this week. What did you think? Let me know if you have any great memories around the PlayStation. I'd really love to hear what your favorite games were on the PlayStation. Were you involved in the Nintendo 64 versus PlayStation war that raged in high school lunch breaks at the time, like I was? Oh my God. It was a different time, a pettier time. But that's it. I'm wrapped. I'm beaming. I'm happy with all these pickups. I think they look great. I'm so happy to have another Grail ticked off the list. One that I didn't think I'd be able to come across for a little while, but yeah, like I said, just stumbled across a really good deal. Couldn't leave it there. So yeah, happy boy all around. That's it from me for this week, my friends. Thank you so much for hanging out. I appreciate it. My name has been Jamie Dean, and as always, make sure you keep on side-scrolling. Take it easy.
Ooh.